Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 21st of July. Hi, Carolyn. Um, and some of you are back for for the training today. It could be crazy. It's all good. And it is Tuesday, and you are here for Efficiency with Google Tools training. So those of you that don't know me, my name is Bond, Virginia Bond, Bond like James, Virginia like the state. I am an ISS Integration of Technology Training Specialist with NARIC, which basically means, yep, I just train in just about everything. Some of you heard my rant this morning because my email's like blowing up this morning. So I had to I had to put in away the job. I had to do a couple other things just to kind of keep some sanity. I apologize for the late link. I ended up going home a little early yesterday, not a ton. I just wasn't feeling well. It was like, when you get super tired, I hadn't slept the night before and I was just exhausting. I think like heat got me finally after days and days. Even though here in the office, this is air conditioned, it's climate controlled, so it shouldn't bother me, but I just was not feeling well. So I went home. I felt better by the time I got home, which was weird, but I had a quick dinner, rested. And in my head, I thought I sent the link out because I did all the other things. Didn't do that. So when Chris Lesher, who's not even in yet, sent me a message and said, "Hey, I didn't get the link." I was, "Oh yeah, he is. Hi, Chris. It's your fault. I resent it. Thank you for like alerting me. I am really sorry. I typically don't make those kind of stupid mistakes. I do make mistakes. Sometimes I make bigger ones than that. So anyway, here we go. So the goal for today, and I'm going to tell you how this actually was a series that I did in small little pieces of efficiency. If you ever take a full like day training with me, one of the things I always say is that I'm excruciatingly lazy. And I'm really not, right? I'm not a lazy person. I mean, most of you know that I train like a crazy woman. Laziness is really not anything that I do, but I am excruciatingly efficient. That is really one of my goals, is to be as efficient as possible because I need to save as much time because my day is really crazy, kind of like yours. Teaching teachers, I'm just going to put this into perspective, and Carol, I know you won't take offense to this. I teach adults, and a lot of them are administrators, right? So sometimes I'm constantly trying to find tips and tricks that will help me use Google quicker, better, faster, because every minute that I save is a minute I can do another task with. For you guys, every minute that you save is a minute of instruction or a minute you get back. So when we can save those little pieces of time, we can make ourselves more efficient. It's really about working smarter, not harder. We've all heard that before. So that's how this all started. And I did it in little snippets before, and I decided to kind of pull it into one big chunk. So the way the document is laid out, and I know that some of you were in here, I'm going to put the link back in the chat in case you did not get it, just so that everybody has it. You can click on it and feel free to make your own copy. Just save it to your Google Drive so you have your own. And then you can take notes down the side. That really, Sarah got it. Like that is what this is built for. So you have a document to take notes in yourself, and you'll have to worry about like taking paper notes. And you'll notice what I did is I set it up by section. So each one of the tools has their own set of tips. So, and I would love to tell you that I'm going to stick to the script, but those of you that know me know that's probably not going to happen. And I probably will have forgotten a few tips and will end up throwing them in. So you're probably going to end up with more than 76 as we go. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask those questions. So here we go. So first of all, really, we want to make sure that you are always, when you get into a session with somebody, that you're always making your own copy of your Google Doc. So you can do it two ways. You will have a little Google Drive icon up here, right? It's next to the title, and you can click on it. It has a plus sign next to it, and that will say make a copy, and you can make your own copy. Now, the reason I don't have that is because I own this document, so I don't have to do that. So it says, oh wait, you already own it. The other way that you can do this is you can come over to File, make a copy. So that's going to allow you to get your own copy to put it wherever you want it to make the most sense. Let me back up for a second. Each one of these headings has the icon, learn icons. If I don't have that somewhere in here, that's going to be super valuable to you because learning those icons will help you read your tabs quicker and it'll be much easier for you to use. Hold on, I got an email from somebody who's not, oh no, that's fine. Okay, so also within there, I put the reason or the use for the tool. So Google Drive is really about organization and curating of your stuff. So curating, keeping it all together, organizing in a way that makes sense. So that's the first thing. Next, tip 2. I knew there'd be mistakes. Know the difference between the 3 parts of my drive. So when I come into my drive, good morning, Sandra. And I come over in here and I look at my drive in general. So I'm going to collapse it a little bit. What you really need to understand is these 3 pieces right here. They are very different and we need to know what each one does. So my drive is my stuff, mine, 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 mine. So if you've ever been to a big drive training with me, you know that I do that with you. That's the way to teach it to your kids. Mine, like think of Finding Nemo and the little, you know, seagulls come in to get the fish. Mine, 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 mine. Okay, it's mine. It belongs to me. Everything within my drive is either something that I have created myself, not a problem, Carol, or is something that I have made a copy of and kept as my own. Okay. So it's mine. The next one is a shared drive. Shared drive used to be called team drives, okay? Those are the things that are the larger drives. I'm going to go out to my NARIC account to show this. So I'm going to just open Drive and toggle back and forth while we're here talking about this. Notice that I have all different pictures for my drives, right? For my accounts. Don't have them with the same picture because when you do that, I'm going to say it. So here's my first time. I'm going to say it. Number 1, I'm excruciatingly lazy. I don't want to read what account that is. I know what it is by the picture, and you'll notice that each one of my pictures is different. I'm really not that vain, you guys, okay? I have different pictures because it allows me to know what they are just by sight, okay? So I have different pictures and I know what they are. This is my outward facing one that all my headshots, my professional, well, they're not very professional, but all my headshots are based around that picture. So I'm going to go to my NARIC account anyway. And when I come and look at my NARIC account and I go to my shared drive, because I have some in here, these are my shared drives. Shared drives are for small amounts of people. For example, this one right here is our instructional team at NARIC. There are only 9 of us. Only 9 people have access to it. Sandra, every time you lean in like that, I realize I have to show it bigger. Thank you. Thank you. Just tell me.
Thank you.
This instructional team, these are smaller groups of people. Everybody in here, when I take you into it and you look what's in here, we all own this stuff, right? Everybody in here owns this stuff. In my drive, I'm the owner of everything. In a shared drive, we share all the information in here. It's kind of like a communal house. We all share everything in the refrigerator. I can eat anything that's here. I don't have to ask for permission. It also means that I can throw anything out. So that could be a problem, right? Because with it, you must trust the people that are in there with you that they're not going to throw out something they shouldn't. Okay, so these are my team members. They've all been told if they throw anything out, I'm going to beat them. And I do mean that. So I created an old folder right here, right? And old stuff. So people, when they're done with it, they can put the old stuff in there and we won't be throwing it out. We'll just be moving it out of the way. So that's just a good practice that I use to kind of keep us as organized as possible. And quite honestly, some of you are going to be way better at organization than others of you. My boss tells me it's a gift. I tell her it's a craziness, but I am super organized. It's just the way I function. I can't, it comes from a lot of years of being in multiple places. So my drive is mine. Shared is a small group of people where everyone is the owner, and then the last one is shared with me. This is the stuff that everyone else gives you or shares with you. So I'm going to say something right off the bat. So when I look right in here, so mine is a hot mess of crazy. I have many, 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 many things in here because I'm a Google certified trainer and everybody shares everything. I mean, I really love that they share everything, but I'll tell you what it does. It gets me a little bit clumped because there's too much stuff in here not organized, right? I hate it. It drives me BSC. Some of you know what that means, right? That's stir crazy. I can't deal with this. So because I don't deal with it very well, I don't go there, right? So that's really one of my right here. So don't worry about the shared stuff with me. It's somebody else's stuff. Don't worry about it. If it bothers you, don't go there to look at it. That is really one of my biggest just things. Just don't go in there. When you go to look for something, I'm going to teach you a trick to look for that stuff a little faster. I am going to split my screen. I know it's just going to make life super easy because I'm going to use them both right now. For those of you that have not seen that extension that I just used, that extension is called Tab Resize. So remember, anytime I show you an extension, you really have to contact your DPO. Tab Resize allows me to split my screen in half, and it allows me to have you in like the document over here plus what I'm showcasing over here with students. When you are, if you are in remote, I don't want to say when, sorry, I don't know anything you don't know. That would allow you to have your kids over. I think some of you saw this yesterday. You could have your meet kids over there, right? And you could have your work on the other side as well. So that could be really valuable. I know most of you don't have the luxury of having screens connected. I do, 4 actually. So I have you on one screen and this on another, but I can just show, you on one. That's really valuable. Okay, next piece in here. Create folders by school year. So you can see 1920, 2021. So I have a 1920 folder right there and a 2021. So everything in the 1920, this is everything I did last year. All the trainings I did last year. So this is all the trainings I've done this year. So if I go back to my drive. This is the trainings that I've done so far this year. This is my 13th training already, which is like day, 721. It's kind of crazy already. So this is everything from this year. Why do I do that? Because we clean our desks, right? You cleaned your physical desk. You clean, you may even clean the inside of your desk drawers. I do that when I get stressed, right? You'll know if I'm stressed and I have a lot to do because I'll do something stupid like clean my desk instead of take care of the stuff. I don't know. It's like a coping mechanism for me. I feel like if I can get something, then I can clean through something else. It's just what I do. So do that with your files. Take all your files and put them in a folder. So you can see in here, I have for each, right? I just removed my 15, 16. So what I did is I downloaded some of the that I didn't need because quite honestly, I went through and looked at them. Most of it was Google stuff that I can't use anymore, so I just deleted it. I hate to say this for you, but some of you are the keepers of the GIN. So if you don't know what that means, I have a friend who's a teacher and we had this old GIN series and she insisted on keeping it. It had started, I mean, they had used it at the district I was in before we got there in 1989. And she kept it. She was the keeper of the GIN. And I used to say to her all the time, girl, get rid of the GIN, right? Drop the GIN. And she'd be like, no, 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 I may use it sometime. Trust me, if you haven't used it in the last 5 years, you're probably not going to. So clean out your digital files. It'll make you feel really good. We're going to talk about that in a little bit about your mail too. And that's where some of you are going to be like, whoa, now you're going on territory you should not be on, girl. I know, it's all good. Okay, so the next one. Use symbols to force alphabetize. Okay, So you can see what I did here. I have stars on these folders. They raise to the top. They'll come all the way to the top, right? The asterisks do that. And if I do it, I can also force to the bottom. So I could force these to the bottom. So I have X's and Z's. Doesn't really matter which I use, but I can force things to the top and I can force things to the bottom. And you can do that within folders as well. You can see my folders are in order, except for 13, which is today, is at the top, right? That's a good way for you to keep what you use the most often right at the top and to have it in a space you need it. And when I'm done with it, all I need to do is come in here. So at the end of today, and I'll do it right now, I just take the asterisk out and it falls right into the line where it should be. It comes right into 13. So that's just one of the tricks that helps me stay very organized and it keeps everything together. So subfolders within subfolders. So in here, you can see that I have subfolders and subfolders. I was just in here, right? I make my stuff where I want it to be. That's going to come back in a minute. So I create everything within something. So if this is today's folder, the one I'm in right now. If I was going to build something else right in here, I would start it in that folder. That saves me time because then I don't have to move it. So the big one, stop searching for stuff because I'm going to take you in this drive. You want to see a hot pile of crazy. So this isn't it. I'll take you to the other one. I'm going to take you into my NARIC account. So in my personal account, I have 11.9 gig. Okay. I just happen to know that number because it's really close to 12 and I try to keep it under 12. In this one, I have 237 gig. If you don't know how much that is, that's 116 little USB drives. Okay. So some of you just went, oh yeah, I have no clue where anything is in here because I don't work hard to keep it organized. But this is what I do. When I need something, I use the search bar, okay? I don't just type in here one thing. I actually use advanced search. I use the down arrow right here. I come and I look for a type of thing. I almost always know what type of document I'm looking for. So I am typically, let's say I'm looking for a form. So I'm going to look for a form. And instead of looking for anyone, typically if I'm looking for a form, I know that I want it owned by me. So what I'm doing is I'm really filtering out a little bit more specific because I have no idea what it's called, right? Here's all the forms built by me. I'll be able to find it pretty quickly because for me, I put a picture on mine. We'll come to that in a little bit. That's a lot faster than me looking through a gajillion things for it. So let's do the same exact thing. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to look for a spreadsheet. Some of you have seen this. I have a spreadsheet somewhere in here that has online resources. I have no idea where it is. None. I can search. I'm going to click that. It's going to pull up the online document. There it is right there. It always comes up. I know what it's called, but I don't know where it is. So I stopped worrying about where it is, and I just learned how to search for it better. So stop. As organized as I am, the only folders that I am super organized with is that training folder. So I don't want you to think that I am like this super organized. I am in that folder only. Everything else is a hot mess. It's okay. And I'm okay with it because Google's known for searching. Allow Google to do what it does best. It searches best. When you're looking in that advanced search, the one thing I always like to tell people is stop searching for name because I can almost guarantee you don't know what you called it. You called it something. If you knew what you called it, you would just type that up in the search box. Come into has the words instead. It will search the title and it will search the contents of the document. So it's going to find that information much quicker for you. All right. We don't have to worry about 7. I lied to you. We do have to worry about 7. We don't have to worry about 8. When you are in here, the biggest thing that I see people make a mistake with, and this is going to come back a few times, is that we all want to file save, right? I want to make a new, I want to save something as, so I just want to file save. Well, I don't have a file save as. So when I want to make a copy of a document, I need to right click on it, make a copy. You're going to get this little pop-up message. If you make the copy, I would like to say if you make a copy of it within a folder, it stays there. But yesterday that proved itself not to be true. Google kind of did its own thing. I don't know why it's doing this. To say that it's wonky is a little bit of an understatement. Sometimes it's saving it within your folder. Sometimes it's pushing it out into your drive. I can't tell if it's because I'm the original owner or if it's because I haven't figured that out yet. Anyway, when it's in here, I've right clicked on it. I've made a copy. Now what I need to do is I need to rename it. And I'm going to call, throw this away because I don't want to use this later, right? Or throw this away because I'm not going to keep that. And then you would just click and you can move it wherever you want to. You can click and drag it into the folder you want it to be in. Or you can, while you're in the renaming it, you can just move it right there within that space. The one thing I have noticed if you are moving a document, and some of you have probably noticed this too, when you move a document, if this box happens to be down here, you don't get the move button, right? So if I decide to take this and I decide to move it to, say, my 13th folder, but I don't get the move button. If I hit enter, it will move it. Okay, just so you know, if you have it where you want it to go and you can't see the move here button, you can hit enter or return. It will go where it needs to go. So if you lose it, you can always come back and find it again in recent. Recent should be like your best friend. They know all the down and dirty secrets of everything you've ever done recently, right? They can see all the things that you've been in. So if you can't find something, that will be where you go. That's typically where I go to find something if I lose it. Because if I make a copy and I lose it, I just come to recent and it'll show me where it is and I can move it from there. Okay. Changing levels of sharing. So I'm going to look at this document right here. So anytime you're going to change a level of sharing, you come up into the share button. And for those of you that have not been in here recently, this is a different feel to it, right? Advanced is gone. They changed that mid-June. I know, and some of you are like, oh my God, I knew that. I knew exactly what to do, right? They've actually made it a little easier. If I go to change, they've made it so you only have restricted and you only have anyone with the link. And then anyone with the link, they changed the language so it makes more sense to most teachers. So it's viewer, commenter, editor, okay? So that's what it looks like. Now, if I want to change the level of sharing once it's in there, and I come in here, I'm going to go into settings, right? This is where, oh no, I lied to you. I'm going to come into share and it's only in here. This is all you're getting, just a little bit. You don't get a ton, right? Anyone with the link and editor. So I want to just make sure you understand that within this document here, this is a little different because I think they have taken this option out. So sharing, stop the limit or sharing, if you change sharing options, that was advanced, don't follow this, but this document right here, this sharing document for you, for secretaries, if anybody wants to know what happens when you're sharing files and where they go and what levels people can have, can you change the sharing of levels for individual? Yeah, you sure can. So if I went in here, so I'm going to cut somebody off right now. So Caroline, I'm going to do it to you because I can see you. I will give it right back to you. So if I come in here, oh, not this document. This is the wrong one. Yeah, I'll do it in this one instead. I'll leave you alone. I can come in here. So if I had a whole list of people in here by email, right? If I had people in by email, I can remove Erica right off the list, right? I can't do that by link. So this is actually a restricted document. So I can put her back on. As soon as I put a person on by email, it'll ask me what level I want to give her. And you'll see I have editor, commenter, viewer, right? And so I'm going to give her back editor so she has it. So you can absolutely do that. one of the misnomers with this is that if I add, say, if I add myself into this document, and then I add, I'll add my boss in. She won't know what to do with it. I'll take her off, right? I can't make myself editor and Laura a viewer. These both people are viewer. I have to do a pile of editors and then I have to do a pile of viewers. Okay. You can do it that way. You can add everybody in if you want, like this, but you still have to go back in and edit that, right? I have to make myself an editor. I can either add them all in one fell swoop and then change the levels, or I can do one level at a time. She's going to be like, what are you doing? She needs that document. I'm going to leave it right there so she has it. All right, so you can change the level of sharing for individuals if you shared it at an individual level. So that means if you shared it by email address. So one of the things I think that's important to understand with sharing is if you share by link, it's an anonymous document. So I shared this with you by that bit.ly, right? That's sharing by link. And what that means is I have you guys in here, you're in here as anonymous, right? I have an anonymous, oh, somebody's an anonymous unicorn, yay, right? So I have an anonymous unicorn in there. And that means you can type in the document all you want because I gave you edit rights, but I don't know who it is. If I shared it with you by email, like I sent you each and I attached your names in by email, that's how I know who would be changing what. So if you want to know what your students are doing, you must share it with them by email. If you share it through Google Classroom, you're sharing through email. We're going to come back to that because I see some eyes are like, what? I don't think I get that. And that's okay. It'll make more sense the more we do it. Okay. So next one. It is right here too. Sharing by link gives more flexibility, but it also gives anonymity, right? So when I share by link, it's a lot easier for me to throw this document up to many, many, many of you than it is for me to like type all of your emails in. I like all you guys, but you don't self-populate into my email. So some of you are Niskis and some of you are Ravinas and some of you are Albany City. So I got to hand type all of your emails in. So that's why I send by link. It's just is a little easier for me in this session. Okay, I'm going to go back up now. Now, share at the folder level. So hopefully I am going to blow your mind with this because this is always one of those times where I feel like people are like, just they don't get it. How many of you get too many emails because people share things to you document by document by document? Okay, I'm seeing smiles, so I know that's the truth, right? Stop the insanity, right? Stop doing that. One of the things that you can do is you can make a big folder and you can share it at folder level. For example, this is my 1920 training folder. And if I come in and look here, I can see who I shared this with. I have shared this with my colleague, okay, Erica Preston, who's a tech integrator. She's in 2 districts. So instead of her requesting trainings from me, she literally can come into this training folder and take anything she needs. And when I add to it, she automatically has rights to it. So if Lynn is working with a group of teachers, if she's the lead teacher and she has a co-teacher and 2 special ed providers and 2 TAs in with her, she can create a folder. She can share the entire root folder with them at edit level, and anything she puts into that, they have access to. She doesn't have to share it with them every time she puts a new document in there. So I want you to think, administrators, you can have your secretary create a folder that you both have edit rights to, and you can just share things in and out of it. Group team, grade level teams, you can do the same thing. Departments, you can do the same exact thing. And you can change people's level of access within a specific document. If you only want everybody in it to only have you absolutely can do that. But you don't have to worry about saying, oh, well, I sent it to you. And they're like, oh my God, where is it? You can just say it's in the folder I shared with you, right? So give it a good name. You can do the same thing with your students. If you work with special ed students and you have special ed students doing specific things, you can share You can create a folder, you can be the owner, and you can share anything you put in the folder with them individually. So if there's things you don't want to put out on Google Classroom, that is an option for you as well. Hopefully that usually becomes a game changer for a lot of people to think about that, because you stop getting so many of those emails that are consistently happening all the time. So the difference between sharing a folder and sharing a drive, that's a good question, Holly. So when you share a folder, I can actually give people, you know, there's not a ton. Let's put it that way. There isn't a ton. You can have a shared drive. It just depends on how many shared drives you want to have. Some people don't mind having a ton of them. Some people, that throws them for a loop. Sometimes when I'm just sharing with one individual, I don't really need to have a shared drive. To me, that encompasses multiple people in the drive. So I may just want to share a folder. Like I could have shared this folder in a shared drive with Erica, the one that I have up right now, but instead I just gave her the folder. So it's really your preference. To me, shared drives are definitely more for district level teams, department levels, buildings. So like the difference between like Davis Elementary versus St. Joe's Elementary versus Flanders Elementary, they could each have their own sets instead of each having a shared folder. So just different ways to be able to view it. All right, so I am all done with Google Drive. So now I'm going to move on to my favorite, which is Gmail. So some of you will have Gmail, some of you won't. Maybe most of you do. So Gmail, I'm using my personal mail at NARIC. We cannot use Gmail. Just tell you that's an angst of mine is an understatement. I will just tell you that right now. So, all right. So here's my email. We're going to clean it a little so we don't have so much stuff in here. And you can see I have all kinds of stuff in here. Delete. Thanks. Maybe. Okay. So create labels and filters. So you'll see that in my email, I have labels and filters already set up in my email. So these little things here are labels. I don't want you to think that I actually come into this and put those in there. Yeah, nope, ain't got time for that. So when my email hits me, when I get email, and I'm going to just send myself an email, I'm going to just, so you'll see what it looks like when it comes in. Google, I'm going to put in the subject. Just going to put schedule Google level 2. Okay, I'll know what that means. So when I get an email, when it comes back to me, see what it just did? Did you see that populate? It just told me that it read my email really quickly and it added 2 labels to it, Google and work related. So the way to do this is it's really a setting. And when I go in and I can set them up in filters. So I'm going to go out here. I got to see my setting wheel. Where did it, they've moved, nope, go all the way out. I'm going to come in here and, oh, they did move it. Woof. Going to go into my settings. I'm going to see all my settings. Still not used to that. Isn't that weird? Even I have problems with that sometimes. First thing, in my settings, I'm going to come to filters and blocked addresses. So you can block addresses. You get emails from people you don't want, you literally can block them or delete them automatically, which I have done. So you can see, here's an example of one right here. Anytime Colin sends me an email, I will mark as read and apply Colin to it. So Colin's one of my email, colleagues. This one, we don't know what this was, sufa.list.ru, but I started to get a ton of them. So what I did is I literally, it comes in and it automatically goes right to my delete box. So I don't even have to deal with it. I have said, okay, usually it stops. I tried to unsubscribe, and I couldn't get out of it. Like some of those things you can't get out of, you can do it that way. So if I send something to myself from any of my emails, obviously it's important. It stars it, it applies a label, and it says KVB important. So this is how you do it. You create a new filter. This looks pretty simple. This is like the search, right? So I'm going to say it's from me, and I'm going to do multiple emails. It could be K Virginia Bond. It could be Virginia Bond. It could be Music Lady. You can see that these are all very related. I have about 35 emails. So, okay. So there, those are all of them. And it has the words Google in it. And trainer. Let's put 2 words in it. Okay. Then I'm going to come in and put create filter. So this is, I'm basically at the beginning, I'm saying any email that comes from this person and has these words in it, I'm going to tell it to do something. So I am going to tell it to star it, choose the label of Google. I'm going to put a GCT on it because it said Google Certified Trainer, right? I needed to have, this is a specific label. Do I need to forward it? Probably not. And it needs to be important. So anything I label from those, here's the rules that I just put in place. Now, if I had any that matched it, I could attach them and match it right there, and I create the filter. So now anything that comes in with that will come with that label attached to it. Now, how could you use this? Attendance. So when you were like in a regular setting, some districts send attendance every day, and you may, or every period, and you may need attendance, but you may not need to look at attendance in your mailbox, right? So one of those options that we saw in there, and I'm going to just come back out here to the edit. I'm going to edit one of them, is that you can mark as read, which means it won't clog up. It won't add a number to your email box, right? You can also push it somewhere. You could never mark it as important because quite honestly, probably attendance for most people isn't important. You need attendance when you need it typically, but you don't need it all the time. So you can also make labels like this for your boss, right? I have seen administrators come here, especially superintendents. They make a label for each one of their principals. So when they come in, and if they're searching for something, because you know you can search for a label, they can come in and they can just search for Virginia. And so when you come up, all of Virginia's emails come flying right in. So they don't have to search through, because as much emails I get, supers probably get more, right? So that's a nice way to do that. I've seen people do them by department levels. So allow it to do its work for you. Allow Google to work and do the work that you need it to do. Okay, the next one. Archive what you don't need to see. So this will freak some of you out, because not seeing your emails freaks you out, right? You're like, oh my God, where did it go? I don't care where it went. As long as I don't have to see it, I'm good with it, right? So I'm going to take this email. This is an email I got yesterday, and I am just going to archive it. I don't archive as much as I should, right? There. I'm going to archive it. It's out of the way. I took care of it, so it's done. I don't need to worry about it. So think about archiving. If it freaks you out, don't do it. Some of you are going to be really good. I have an administrator that I work with. He calls it zero, nothing in his inbox. And I'm like, whoo, Nelly. I'm pretty impressed because I have one. Okay, that's not really true. I have way more than one. I have one in my important mailbox. So this comes from the way that I view my mailboxes, and I view my mailboxes in the default, which is this. So you can customize it. And what that means is basically that I have a primary mailbox, a social mailbox, a promotion email mailbox. You can tell what this is, right? This is everything that's somebody trying to sell me something. Bath and Body Works, Michael's, Joann's. Obviously, I craft a lot. Barnes and Noble. But what I like about this is I can come in and really quickly just delete them all, or really quickly look for a coupon, right? I don't have to paw through my inbox to find it. It's kind of moved out of the way. The other one is updates. So this is the issue with updates is you have to know what comes in here. What comes into my updates is anytime I do a password reset, it comes into my updates. So I have to know where it goes, right? But this is why I really did it. I have, so I'm in a Google forum, right? So for Google Trainer, we get over 600 emails a day. There's no way I wanted those coming into my email box. I would be super stressed out about that, right? That would drive me crazy, because I'm just going to see this. Some of you have over 2,000 emails that you haven't read. I know that because I've seen it before, and you don't read your emails because you have too much email, and you have too much email because you don't read it. So you're in this catch-22. So really the trick is to learn how to clean it and to get it out of there. So for me to not have those in my inbox makes me super happy. The only thing that will trigger an alert on my phone is anything that comes into my primary inbox, nothing else. That just makes me super happy because I am allowing Google to kind of do that like sort work for me and I don't have to do it myself. I also can come in really quickly. My spam folder, God only knows what's in here. Oh, I'm so sorry I clicked that. Yep, it's always not stuff I need. I was having some serious testosterone problems. Not really. I'm just getting the emails for it, right? So I have it all set in a spam and I can literally just come and delete them all so that they go through. So just know that those are options. Use the option to mark as read within your filters. That will help a lot. Stop searching for emails. Too many of you look for emails, right? Use this advanced search feature. Who's it from? So I'm going to pop up my daughter. I think I have a couple in here from her. I'm not super sure I do. I may, Becca, let me do Bond. I'll do these two because let's say that it's from one of these two, my daughter or my daughter-in-law. I'm not really sure. And I'm just going to tell it to search. And I have no emails from them. That's probably true. I'll do this one. I know I have a couple for my husband. So there's a couple in there, right? So I can real quickly just use the search box to look instead of searching and scrolling up and down them. So use that search. One of the things that's in here that's really, really cool that I don't think most people understand is that you can search by date. Okay. If you know you got it within the last month, well, look in the last month. If you know you got it in the last year, look in the last year. This also exists within your Google Drive. Okay. So if you know that you did it last September, you can search within 1 year of September 15th because it's smack dab in the middle of the year of the month, right? So that will help you look quicker. So multiple mailboxes. If you're using multiple mailboxes, change the mailboxes, and I will show you what I mean. So I'm going to, yeah, no, I'm like, yeah, I'll show you what I mean. And then I got really nervous. I'm not going to show you on Google because I'm like, if I log into that one, I may totally lose it. So I actually this is another trick for you guys to just know. If you have a personal account and a Gmail account, right, a personal account and a school account, and you don't want the twain to mix, you can use a different browser. So I use, as a Google trainer, not during the school year, I use Firefox for my Salmon River account. So you see that this is green. The color for the district is green. So I have a green mailbox. And I actually, in here somewhere, you can see I have so many email accounts. I also have a Brush to Moira account. Their color is red. Their background has a red picture on the back. So just on site, I know where I am, right? Again, it's that efficiency, so I don't have to worry about sending a personal email out of my school account. I would not make that happen. So this nice background in the back is a picture of my own of the Adirondacks. So that's just a quick, simple way to do that. So try those different inbox categories. They're available up in here. You can see the inbox type. You'll see you have lots of options, right? Try them and see what you like. You also can try these different panes. So I'm so used to Google Mail. It looks different than the way I use my Outlook mail. It doesn't bother me, but if you like this better, you can have sidebar, mini sidebar with a little view. So if I clicked over here, it would tell me what it is. This is what my Outlook looks like. I like that for my Outlook. I'm not sure why I guess I don't care. You can do it any way you want. You can try different things, right? This is the no split. You can also have the below email if you like that better. Everybody has their own preference of how they like it. This is a new kind of piece. So one of my big things here is conversation view. So do you know what conversation view is? Say, give me a heads, yes. Give me a 1 if you know what it is. Okay, if you know what it is, just show me a 1 either in the thing. If not, you can put it right in the chat. Okay, so conversation views will either make you or break you. Okay, some of you do. Not many of you do though, so a couple of you do. All right. Here's conversation view. When I'm in the midst of a conversation with someone, um, I may want all of, I gotta fix my email now. See, I gotta put it back the way. Yay. Okay. So I'll go into craziness. If I am having a conversation with multiple people, say Lynn, Sandra, Kara, Carolyn, and Allison and I are all having a conversation about, um, Google tools, right? And I send them all an email and I say to them, please reply all. And Allison, Carolyn, and Lynn all email me. They'll all stay in one email if I leave it in conversation view. But what they will do is they will start to collapse after I get a few of them. That's conversation view on. It's one conversation, multiple people, and they all stay in one email. Okay, that's on. Some people love it because they don't get lost, right? The conversations all stay together. I personally hate it because what happens is when there's too many conversations that occur in there, they start to collapse and I start to miss them, right? I will miss some of the essence of the conversation. I know enough to go in and kind of click my way through to find them, but I also have found lately that sometimes they're collapsing, even if they're separate emails and they come together, even replies individually, they all go together and they collapse together and I start to lose them. My phone in Outlook does that and I get really frustrated because I can't turn it off on my phone. Just it's a frustrating thing for me. So that's conversation on. I leave my conversations off because if I send an email to all of you and you all responded back individually, I don't want you lumped in one pile. I need those individually so I can deal with them individually. So knowing the difference between the two is very important. A lot of secretaries like conversation view on there, but they're very good at email. And don't take this the wrong way, my teacher friends. For the most part, they're better than teachers are at email. They're in it all the time, right? It's kind of like their specialty. That's what they do. They're really good at emails. They know how to function with it and know how to make it work. The next one is add a signature line. Oh my gosh, this is kind of a pet peeve of mine. So I'll tell you why. Because I don't know how many times somebody sends me an email and they just sign their name. I like you guys a lot, but do you know that I deal with over like 200,000 teachers? I have no idea where you're from, right? I just don't know. Or they'll say, call me. And I'll be like, great, where are you from? So I got to look up your name. I got to find your email. I got to look you up in the school. And then I got to look up your phone number, right? Do yourself a favor and add a signature line in here. Even if your signature line is right now your name, your school district, and your email address. Oh my God, that is so huge, right? It just makes, because for me, it's like context. Like I've seen Lynn enough that I will be able to know that I've seen Lynn enough. I know she's from Niskayuna, right? I'd be able to peg that. But some of you I haven't seen enough and I don't want to try to figure it out. I don't mean it like that, but it's just a time saver. Think about having an away message during the summer if you're not going to, right? If you know that you're not going to be checking this email a lot, it's good to put an away message on. I use an away message in my Outlook all the time, even when I'm training, so that people don't get furious that I don't respond to their emails directly. Like I'm busy till 10:30 today. I'm really sorry, but that's the way it is. So these aren't bad things, right? It's also good if we go back to remote learning, this is a really good time to maybe put a link to your calendar, right? Have a calendar link in there. You will notice that in mine, I do have, if you get a response from me, I'm using an app called You Can Book Me. It's called Book Me. So you will see that someone can come into my calendar and literally can book me for any time that I'm available, right? That's just a really nice way that people can book me pretty easily. I have that linked in both of my calendars. So thinking about you can have a resource document in there. If your contact hours are in there for your students, you can just keep them in your signature line. anything like that is helpful if we end up in remote learning. Okay. All right, so that is all Gmail. Whew, next one, Chrome browser. Oh, yay, Chrome browser. Let's just go to Google. So this is the one that usually I'm going to put everything back together so we have it all together so you can see the whole thing. So in the Chrome browser, I feel like people kind of don't use this very much. It drives me crazy. So I'm just going to add a few more things up here so you can see that I have some, nope, new. Let's do a new tab. Oh, nope, not a new window, new tab. Thank you. I want to add a couple things here. I know they're not going to be all of great value, although if anybody's ordered, I need a new pair of Birkenstocks. I know that's really important today, right? But, you know, it is reality. So, okay, so now I have a whole bunch of tabs here. I'm going to pull these into so we have them. I'm going to slide them into this set. Yep, go in there. Thank you. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you a couple tricks. I'm going to pull this over here and I'm going to pin this one. So the first one, I'm probably going to go out of order. I am going to totally go out of order. I'm going to pin a tab. So when I right click on a tab, I can pin it. And it basically means that I make it small so I can't delete it. Okay. Huge. The ramifications of pinning tabs for your students is huge. Teach your kids how to pin tabs. Because number one, they can have their Google Classrooms pinned right there. I can't throw this out. I can close it, right? I can kind of throw it out, but it just allows your kids to not lose things. So as you're working on things, you can't just get rid of them. You can also mute a tab. So if you have a video playing, you can mute it really quickly. You can just really quick mute the tab and let it keep going. It'll stop playing. Okay, here's my favorite. So this is a new one to me. I can do Control-1, Control-2, Control-3, Control-4, Control-5, Control-6. Some of you are figuring it out. Control-7, Control-8, Control-9. It literally moves me across my tabs really quickly. So if I know I'm in 2, there's Control-2. So people are like, well, why do you like that instead of clicking? It's actually, for me, it's less motion because I almost always have my left hand on my keyboard. It's just a habit of mine because I'm so used to two-handing it, all right? I like to tell people I'm a two-fister in the good way, right? I got one on my mouse or my trackpad when I'm on my laptop, and the other is almost always on my keyboard. And it's usually right near Control Copy, Control Paste, so that I always have my hands ready to go. I'm also like, I'm a music teacher by trade. I'm used to using two hands, right? And my left hand gets overcompensated. I was a French horn player, so this one used to do all the work. This one used to just hang on to stuff. So I'm so used to using two hands that it's just, it's second nature to me, and it just makes me more efficient. So I always keep that left hand near my keyboard. Even when I'm training, I notice this all the time. My hand is resting on the control. My pinky is always on the control key. It's just years of habit. Okay. Next one. So use the keyboard commands as much as possible. So I feel like you know the basic ones, like Control Copy. I mean, Control C is Control Copy, right? So if I copy something, and Control V is paste. So for me, pinky on Control, pointer on C, Control C, Control V. Those are skills you should automatically be teaching your kids. They need those skills. Control A. Does everybody know what that is? Select all. So watch, Control A. It selects everything on the document. So no problem. I don't know who that was, but oh, it's Sarah. Yep. Yeah, I will. So Control A selects all, and Control I select all. That's a huge one. I think that most people don't really remember. So I'm going to put that in here. Control plus A is select all. Kind of a favorite of mine. So here's the two that I usually people like the most. Okay, I am going to Control J. So you know when you download something you can't find it, that's where it goes. It goes into your control. It goes into your download folder. So you have a download folder. You all do. Works in every browser, even on a Chromebook. Okay. It works in every browser. So even if I was in Firefox, Control J works. Okay. That's where they go. It's not like it's a magic place. It is a magic place. It's the magic place that you don't know where it is. It's the download folder. So now you know where it is. Okay. The next one is I am going to, and I didn't do this right here. I can right click on a folder, on a tab, excuse me, and I can close all tabs to the right. I told you I forgot one. So there they go, right? So I'm going to do a couple more, right? So now let's say I was like, oh, it is a control on a Chromebook. Yep. You asked me that. Now I'm going to double. Why do you do that? I don't know who that was because I can always see the question. I'm going to pull my Chromebook out and check. Pretty sure. I don't know. Yes, it's control. I'm like, I think so. Second guess myself. Yes, it is control on a Chromebook. Yes. Okay. So, I'm going to, I closed all those tabs, right? So now I can put them all back. I can Control Shift T opens the last tab I closed. So now I'm going to do a whole pile. So if you get excited about this, watch. Undo tons, right? These are all the ones I had open this morning, right? Tons of them. And the funny thing is that an entire pile just opened underneath your window on my other screen. So that's really weird. Okay. So see how many of those open, right? Control Shift T. It is, right? It's Command on a Mac, right? Yep. It is Command on a Mac. Sorry for my Mac friends that are out there. I actually started in the Mac world. Is that, Lynn, are you a Macer? Oh yeah, it's always an option, right? I started with a Mac lab, right? And then I got those bubble 2Es, right? So I've been a Mac girl. I am actually, yeah, I am bilingual. So I got no problem with that. I can use Macs and Dells. So now I've got all these open. I don't want them. So I'm going to right click on this one and I'm going to close to the right. And I'm going to close them all. So if you never knew that was there, stop closing them one at a time, right? Some of you are like, close, 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 close. You can right click on it and you can close to the right. Close you just move your tab over. And I don't have that in here, so I told you I'd have a few added. Insert a row above. So this is a T extra. Esdra, only in my world. T extra. Right click on tab. Close to the right. Yep, you'll love that. That will be your favorite. Okay, the bookmark bar. The bookmark bar is your friend. This is the bookmark bar here. Most people don't see it. So the way to get to it is the 3 dots, the more, and you need to show it. So you can see that's what it looks like, right, if I don't have it showing. So I'm going to come all the way over in 3 dots. 1, 2, 3, more stuff here. I'm going to show the bookmark bar. And here's the bookmark bar. So why is the bookmark bar so important? Because this is the most prime real estate you have on your device, and it allows me to move things around. So I'm going to grab this document right here. I'm going to grab it by the lock, and I'm going to pull it down into my bookmark bar. And as soon as I pull it down, it comes down in. So now I'm going to make it even better. I'm going to shorten the name of that because the name is ridiculous, right? I'm going to right click on it. All good things are always a right click away. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to just call it EWGT. I know that that will be efficiency with Google Tools right there. So I got my Birkenstock sandals here, right, that I really want to buy. This is a note to myself that I got to buy them because I keep forgetting. Okay, I'm going to edit it. I really don't need the title in there. I mean, it's really nice that you all know now I have to buy Birkenstocks, but I can literally just leave the basket. I'll remember what it is. You can also click and drag them around. So like I have this one twice, so I can just delete one. I can move them around. You see that I have some right here that are just icons. That's because I know what they are. Okay, I also put a folder in here. So I have a lot of you have a folder created by your district that's right here on your bookmark bar. So it's like the district favorites. So if I want to create another one, I add a folder, right? And you just name it. I'll just call it KVB. You see it just went up there. And then I can click and drag. I could put stuff in there. So think about that for your kids. You can either teach them how to do that, which is so valuable because that's a life skill. Learning how to curate what you already have, managing your own stuff, right? Teach them how to pull things down in. If you get any face-to-face with your kids next year, one of the first things I would be doing if you're going to use Google Classroom is I would have them get into Google Classroom and pull it down into their bookmark bar so they have it, and then label it so they know it's yours. How do you put in a pic instead of words on the bookmark bar? Oh, so what I have my little icons right here. So let's take this one right here. Actually, I'll take this one because this one I may remember what it is. I'm going to right click on it and I edit it and I literally take out all the words. The icon stays. So that's the trick to be able to do that. Super helpful because I don't have to worry about, I know what these things are, right? That is, I think that's Canva, Symbaloo, that's a spreadsheet, Wonderopolis, iReady, that's a remote learning folder, Google Keep, OneDrive, Mail, Drive, Calendar, Outlook, right? I know what they are by the icon. That's why I told you learn those icons so you can know what they are. And what that really does to help me is to stay organized and I know where my things are and I don't have to go into this nasty list, which I want to tell you, this used to be like 4 pages long. So the fact that I cleaned them up, that's pretty good. I'm impressed with myself because I don't typically keep things that clean. I didn't work in this one, but I did clean up the hanger outers that were just on their own. So the way I use this is if I'm working on something, say if like I found this the other day and I just pulled it down in because I had to get somewhere else quicker. So I found this in a session, pulled it down, and I have it right there in my bookmarks, and then I can figure out where it's going to go at a later time. Also, things that I might be working on right now, they go right here. So you'll see right in the middle, there's a certified coaching curriculum that I'm working on right now. So that's right in the middle because those are things that I'm working on, I'm using right now at the present time. So that's just a simple way that I use it to kind of keep myself on task. If you are allowed to add an extension for tabs, I feel like they're really valuable to have one. If some of you get too many tabs, some of you are like tab gurus and you got tons of them. I'm going to put a few more up, right? Another option you can use is a tab manager. So I use one called OneTab, and what it allows me to do is it allows me to push a button and all my tabs will collapse into one tab set. Okay, so here's a tab set. There's 4 of them in a tab set. The good thing about a tab set is that I have some options. I can name the set. So if I just call this KVB set, I can lock the set. So basically that I can't change it. And the other thing that I can also do is I can share this set. So I can actually share the email out like this as a web page to students. So if you were going to have certain set of resources that you were going to use with your students, you could create that and push that out to them. Again, it's an extension, so you do have to ask permission to use that, right? Anything we kind of go into those pieces, you have to ask your DPO if you're allowed to have those pieces because that's a different kind of conversation, and I can show it to you doesn't mean you can use it. Right there, you can see check with your DPO. An extension manager can be your friend. Some random, Virginia's a little random. I'm going to put the name in here that I use. So I'm actually going to make this tab, by the way, I'm going to make this one red just so you know. So anytime I kind of deal with something that's a little DPO-y, and they're going to be red just so you have them so you know. So I use an extension manager here. So you know that you can turn your extensions on and off. You can see I have a lot of extensions, right? Lots of them. Like I may have a habit, like a lot. And I turn them on and off. And I turn them on and off this way because I could right click on them, manage extensions, do that, but it's a lot of steps. This allows me to turn an extension right on or off. So if I want to turn my AdBlock Plus off, I just turn it off. And then when I want to turn it back on, I just come back on and turn it on. So special ed teachers that may be using Read and Write for Google Chrome, that would be the one reason I would definitely have it because I hate that pop-up that comes when I'm using Read and Write for Google Chrome. I want it out of the way. I want it to move out of my document. So that was really how I got into this. So that's kind of valuable to have that there. Okay, next one, Google Docs. I'm in a Google Doc. So I'm going to just function out of this one and we'll make changes to it and go backwards. So number one, kind of like I have done on this, when you're working with students, give them a space to do their own work. So this is kind of why I use a table a lot, because if I was doing this with a student and I was asking a question across the top here, I'd put their names down the side and then they would answer in their space next to it. Everybody's in their own space. Like you all get their own space. They all have their own desk. This would give them their own space to answer. And that really helps. So if I was also doing something like that with students, I'd probably be sharing it with them by email. I'd be coming up here and I'd be pushing it out to them by email. I'd be adding them in. I know it's really long and it takes a long time to do, but your kids will self-populate. So their names will pop up. The reason I like that is because when you do it that way, I'm going to be able to use my version history. I'll be able to come up here into File Version History. I'll be able to see my current version history, and it would show me who made changes to the document, right? I'm the only one who's made changes right now to this document because it's mine. But if I brought you into a collaborative document, some fun little munchkin came up here and gave me a double E, right? And then it was anonymous user. Because you're all in by link, I can't tell who made the change. If I have, and you can have your students in here, they'll just be anonymous shrew, anonymous unicorn, anonymous elephant, right? When you have them in by email, they'll come in here by email and you'll see who made what changes to what. So anytime I'm doing a document with students, it's valuable that they have that. Now, that being said, if a student makes a change to a document and they overwrite somebody's work, I will roll them back to the last version history. I will name it and I will restore them to that version. So I could totally restore them to this version. You guys are freak out. We're going to come back out to this document and it's gone, right? It's totally gone. You're like, oh my God, I restored it to last night's document. I can go backwards, right? You usually only have to do it once to kids and they'll be like, oh, yeah, sorry, right? I'm going to restore this version. I'm going to take it right back where it was, right? You only have to do it once. They learn really quickly not to muck with the works, right? They just learn to stay in their own space. That is really a time for a digital citizenship conversation with them. Okay, the benefits of commenting. All right, so right here, I'm going to make a comment. So I'm going to highlight. So a lot of times we take edit. A lot of us use edit functionality, right? We want editability, and we'll go into the document edit. Stop doing that, teachers. Start commenting, put the onus back on your students, add a comment. So I'm highlighting, and I think most of us know how to comment, right? But what I'm also going to do is I can do this. I can do a plus sign. I did not know that, just so you know, Lynn. I have it sitting next to me, okay? I can send this to her. Change the font, all right? So this is just an example. When I do this, do you see that plus sign right there? So they gave you this. I'm going to assign this to one person. The plus sign is a direct assign, okay? They've given you this right here. But you can also use the plus sign. Anytime you get a commenting, use plus. You can also click this box. Doesn't matter which one you want. Either one will work. They will get that. So when you're doing collaborative work with students and you want only one person to see it, you can push it out like that and you'll sign. She's going to get an email. Sorry, you're going to get an email now, right? Not a big deal, but that's how it works. And you'll see it's assigned to Lynn, right? So one of the benefits of that, she can come in, she can make the changes, she can resolve the comment and it'll be done. This is a really great way when working with a team of teachers who, if somebody needs to check something, we do big documents like this and I'll say, hey, Sarah, can you check this? I don't need to send her an email, it'll send it itself. I don't have to go out to my email to do it. Okay, next one. Use headings to create outlines. These are outlines here. This is how I did it. I highlighted this. I came up here to heading. I typed on it and it creates this outline. The benefit of this is that if I just want to go to forms, I can pop right down to my forms section. I don't have to stay in the docs. So when you create a document like this for your students and you use those headings, it allows them to jump. You're basically you're creating a table of contents for them to be able to jump around in. It makes it much easier. So think about big topics as you're working with things with students. You can have a big document like this that you can use for an entire year. I know, can you imagine it? You can use it for an entire year or maybe by quarter. And you make a new one by quarter for my middle school, high school teachers. Create it like this, and you can have it so it's basically hyperdocked. It's hyperlinked right within it. It is a hyperdoc. It's just linked right within the document. So as soon as you put a header in, it will populate this little outline box. Okay. And then you just teach your kids how to use that little outline box, and it's a time saver because you can just jump around in the document. Okay, the next one. Use agendas for an entire year. Oh, this is like a kicker for me. So people are like, what? So make an agenda. So if I do I'm going to do a new tab right here, and I'm going to do docs.new. So if you didn't know that, this is also a little trick for you. Docs.new. I don't have to go to the waffle. I don't have to go to docs.google.com to get there. Docs.new will do it for me, right? So I can do an agenda. So I'm going to do team meeting agenda. All right, so I'm going to have a team meeting agenda, and today's date is July 21. So we have a meeting today, at the end of the day, July 21, and I'm going to do blah, blah. We all like my, guys, wouldn't my meetings be fun? Blather, 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 right? There we go, right? Yep, so there we go. I'm going to put a bold on that. I'm going to put it up to a 24, and I'm going to make it a heading. Heading 1, perfect, set to go. All right, now. So that's going to go. I'm going to say like our next meeting is going to be July 28th. Okay, and July 28th, 2020. Okay, it's actually going to be more. Blah, 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 blather, blather, blather. Right, bold. I'm going to make it heading number 1. See what happens? So basically, if I miss a meeting, I can come into this document and I can check the whole thing. I can search a document with a Control F. I can search a whole document for the data I'm looking for. And I don't have to find 85 million gajillion agendas. There are one agenda for an entire year. Administrators, it's such a great thing. It's taken us a long time, but our team is starting to do this. It's so much better because when we take notes, right, we don't have to take notes in every meeting. We only have to take notes in the meetings that are really big. And when we take notes, we do them collaboratively. We all share this document together, and we actually take turns taking notes back and forth. One of us will take notes and one of us will proofread. And then we can come back and we can reference it later. And we don't have to worry about, we have 2 meetings a week. That's 104 agendas. I don't have time for that. I don't even know where I put 104 documents, and I don't print them, so they're all digital. So this is a way to do that. You want to be really fancy, super fancy, attach this into your calendar, right? And then you always know where it is. Then you don't even have to find it. Pushing, right? That's even better because it will make your life so much easier. All right, so agendas, those 2 things I did together. Next one, collaborative documents, right? We already did this. Link versus email. That makes sense. We know how to share a document. If I share it via a link, everybody is anonymous. If I share it via email, you know who is who. So just remember to keep those opens. Just make sure to understand those here. I'm going to delete that. There you go, Lynn, so you don't have to do that, you poor thing. Okay, next one. Collaborative, the Explore tool. Make sure you're using the Explore tool. The Explore tool is in the bottom right-hand corner. It looks like curtains, right? People are like, it looks like a plus. I'm like, no, it looks like curtains. So you click on it and it'll pop out and it says Explore. The Explorer allows you to search your document or the web, and I got to get my mouse back over here. Okay, so I think the best part of the Explore tool is that I can look for a cheetah. Okay, I can research directly within this document. Why did it not do that? There. So right here, I can research within this, right? Think about my littles, right? Any little kids. So usually we start research with, I used to do it in 1st grade. It was very tiered with my kids, but 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade, kids will go off and they'll research and they're lost because they got multiple tabs open. They don't know where to go. They don't know what's going on, right? Right here. I can go to Wikipedia. You see that was directly from my doc, right? Directly from my doc. So students can come in here and they can say, okay, maybe they're going to take this content. Now I'm going to do something I don't typically do. I'm going to copy and paste the whole thing just for preferences today, right? I'm going to copy and paste it in there. So I'm actually going to put quotes around it like this. Okay, I'm all done. So I got it all in here. So that's the first thing, Explore tool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to, on here, I should be able to, that's weird. I should be able to reference that. And I'm not sure why that's not working. So I should be able to, oh, it's down here. That was the top one. When I come down here to web results, see those little quotes that just popped up? And click on them. And you saw what it said. Some of you might not have noticed what it said. It adds a footnote, right? So footnote for all you English teachers, or just you got a little like, I teach my kids how to do that, right? I can also click, I can select the citation format. You have MLA, APA, or Chicago. So it is footnoting, it is not endnoting. What's really nice is anytime students take content, they can footnote it right on a page. The other thing that you can do in here for Cheetah, I'm going to come to the top of the page. I can go to images. So I know that it looked up Cheetah. I'm going to click and drag the picture over. Any picture that I insert from an Explore tool is labeled for reuse and modification, which means it is free for me to take. And it is linked right there. It is hyperlinked back to the original. So I know where it comes from. This is a great tool for primary students, middle school students just starting to do research, because it really does keep them in an encapsulated area, and there are things that they can use that they're actually free and they should be using instead of some of the stuff they just take all the time, right? So that is a helpful component. All right, next one. So build a little bit of independence. Make sure you're sharing back to your teacher. So you could have the students create the document and they can share back to you instead of you having the document and share to them. Remember, that's a two-way street. Especially, I would say any student past the age of third grade can share back to you. So when we start to build independence for them, we have them create the documents and they can share to you. So that's a little different. So don't always do it the same way. Let's teach them a new skill so they know how to create a new document and they learn that process of sharing back to you. They would share back to you as commenter, right? Not editor. So they would come up here. They would share it out to you. They would put the name in here. So I'm going to take it right here. So that would be my name as a teacher. And they would share it to you as commenter, right? That's a great thing. Make sure they give it a real name so you don't get 85, 85 documents that are all called Cheetah. That would suck, right? To lack of a better word. Make sure you teach your students how to name documents. I don't even know if I could tell you that enough times, right? Because that's important that we teach our kids how to name documents the right way. I'm using the undo feature. If you don't know the Control Z is undo, Command Z for Lynn. Undo, probably your best friend. That's the, oh my God, I made a mistake. I can Control Z it, will undo it. Change the margin size. I know this is such a stupid one, but it's really not. File, page setup. Come out here and change the file size. I mean, the margin size. Mine have changed to 0.5. It will not print off the page, and I saved it. Right here, you will see save as a default. That is my default. Any document I use is always out to the 0.5. I'm not wasting space on paper. I'd like to kill as few trees as possible, but it also, especially online, I can get a lot more on one page. It's much easier. You can also in here, and I didn't go through that, so you could change size, but you could change page color, right? So I want you to think about that too. Some students with visual acuity issues, especially any special ed kids that may have issues, you can make a template for them so that their page is blue. And you can save as Susie. Maybe Bobby likes blue text on yellow instead of, black on blue. You can do that as well. You can save each one of them as their own page, teach them that process, and then they'll have that document all set for them. And you can always just write on that. So that would be Bobby's start page, right? That makes things much easier for them. When you're working with students, colors are easy because they also allow you, when you're working with collaborative groups, it's easier because you'll be able to tell what color is what. So if Bobby, Susie, and Joey are all in pink, and Caroline, Kara, and Lynn are all in green, you have a little sticky note somewhere. It tells you what the color is, and then you can look at it when you go into your drive. You'll see it just by color. You don't have to read what group it is. It'll go faster for you as well. We already did that one, and we already did build within the folder. Phew, I'm going on to Google Slides. I may get through this, probably not, but Google Slides. So Google Slides is, I think those of you that know me that I love Google Slides. I do a lot in here, so I'm going to start from the down, dirty, ugly, and start with nothing. So quick entry of slides, right? I want to do it quick. Most of you will go up here to the plus sign and hit the plus sign to put in new slides. I never do that ever, ever, ever. So I just come in and hit the first and I hit enter, 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 and I got all the slides I ever could possibly want. There we go. And I just work from there. I'll play with the layout when I get to them. So I really quickly made 13 slides, right? I don't care about layout. I can do layout later. All right. One of the next things. So I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to quickly throw in a picture. So we have something. Oh, no, I'm going to throw in a picture. So use the insert tool, by the way. Always use the insert tool. We're going to throw one picture in there. So we have one. We'll use this one today. So I'm going to have a picture up. Yay, look how pretty that is, right? So let's say I want 2 of these. I'm going to right click on the slide, duplicate the slide. Now I have 2. So I never make slides twice. I duplicate everything. So always right click, duplicate, right click, duplicate. Again, you also have an explore tool here, just like you did in a doc. So if I say hiker, and I want a hiker image, I can grab an image and just put a hiker in, right? If I was saying, yeah, that looks good. And it doesn't matter what I find because these are all labeled for use and modification. When I'm using this, when I'm using the explore tool, all of those pictures are free for us to use. So I can take them, I can change them, I can make anything I want to do with them. Okay, the difference between a background and a theme. I know some of you have been in my training before for this, but I want to review it anyway. Background. Change the color in a background. I'm going to make it eye screaming green. Woo! Right? This is one slide. See it? One slide. Background is one slide. I can add it to a theme. When I do that, it overrides the entire theme. Woo! That is not pretty. So I'm going to do done and then I'm going to undo it, right? Because that's a lot of green. So background is one slide. Themes are the overall arching component of how your slide presentation will look. And I will tell my teacher friends, go to the theme before you tweak every slide. Don't tweak slides. Just don't. Don't waste your time and have the most beautiful slide presentation of all time, especially for your kids. Well, I know you love them. Give them one fun slide and then don't do them all. Use a slide theme. I'm going to come down to the bottom of slides because I have it down here. Use the 80-20 rule. 80% content, 20% pretty. And for my teacher friends making presentations, that's more like 95% content, 5% pretty. All of you that have ever taken a session with me, you know that I use my Google Slide Trainer template, which is white and it has the colored bars, and that's about all the pretty you get, right? I like you guys. I change the fonts and that's about it. Nothing else, because the content is way more important than the pretty. Now, when I present for big conferences, I will put much more time in and go find a nice slide deck and I will work from that. When I'm training you guys, it's efficiency, right? We need to be efficient. Okay, insert tool is pretty simple. So that 80-20 rule when you're working with kids, 80% content, 20% pretty, and roll them back if they're doing the wrong thing because you can change it in version history as well. Okay, I think that's gonna wait. Okay, the next one. Change page size. So this is kind of a new one that I really love. You can come into page setup again. And I can change this page size to custom. And in custom, I can make this look just like a piece of paper. I was always enthralled with teachers that use these to make posters, and then I figured out how they did it. I was like, oh, now I feel stupid, right? So in a lot of cases, when I look at this, this gives me a lot more room to work, right? So, because this looks like a real piece of paper. And remember that Google Slides is really a visual tool. It's not for text, it's for pictures. We can do a lot more visually on here. So I'm thinking about my science teachers that have a lot of diagrams sometimes. You can put it there's a lot more room in there for a diagram than there is on the regular widescreen 16:9, whatever that option is. So you can go through and change it like that. I'm just checking to make sure there's nothing in the bar there. So print setting for notes. Anybody print their notes? I know that's this is kind of silly right now because we know we may not be in this kind of environment, but some people like to push their notes to their kids. So if you come into print settings like this, you can do one side with notes. You can do, this is the one most people want, like, right? For some godforsaken reason, it always defaults to landscape, right? You have to roll it to portrait. So that's the one we typically use like that. So even on a page, it'll do that. So there you go. I just made somebody happy, right? So page notes, if you want that, then you have what you need. So you have the space to put the information in. I'm still a handwriter, quite honestly. I know I know most of you are like, what? I still take hand. I'm really old. Like I'm 54. So my brain needs to write for me to remember, right? That's just that's how I learned the best. So I will do a lot of handwritten notes. So sometimes I go to conferences and I'll take my Chromebook and I can't really write, but I will sketch note. So that's much better for me. I know that handwriting process is a process for me to remember. So just allow your kids to think of where they are. You download this as a PDF and you can push it to students. Sometimes it's just nice to have that. Sometimes we want just a 1-by-1. Sometimes I'm taking somebody's presentation and I just want to see the slides, right? I just want to see the slides. So I'll do a 9-slide per page. That just allows me to see the slides. I really don't need the whole thing. So closing the preview, perfect. Create templates. So creating a template. So you create the slide presentation the way you want it. I'm going to open one that I have done. I'm going to do a tab and I'm going to go to drive.google.com. Only if I can type it correctly. Ooh, that was exciting. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I want my drive. Thanks, you silly thing. I have to sign in. I don't type very well. So I'm going to go into this one because I have one in here that I'm going to show you a couple templates. Google gets all excited when I go too fast and it can't keep up with me. So when we talk about templates, creating a template that is something that I would use in a Google Classroom and I would push through to my students. I did it. I broke Google this morning. Yep, not functioning. All right. So it would be a template that I would create and I would create the basic structure and students would fill it in and I would have directions on the slides. I'm going to give it one more click here and then I'm going to say nope. It's definitely not going to open. So I want everybody to just notice that Virginia broke the Googles today. Yeah, sorry for anybody else who wanted to get into Drive. It's okay. Creating a template, creating a structure that is where your students will fill in information and then you push it where every student gets their own copy. I'll just build one. Fine. If you're not going to let me open it, I'll just build my own, you stupid piece of trash. How do you like that? Trash talking the old Google today. It's all good. I got no problem with that. I'm going to close that one. I'm going to make this one into a template. I'm going to change the page setup real quickly. I'm going to go back to that one. Perfect. Apply. And I'm going to take this. I do not like this layout. I picked a layout and a theme. It's absolutely awful. I'll go back to the real ugly one. So it's simple. Can you add a QR code in a footer? You can add a QR code in a doc. And here it won't work. So I'm scan to dump my student work. You know what, Michelle? I got to think about that one. I'm going to think about that while I make this. And then I will, yeah, I got to think through that one. Monday, so this is going to be week of July. Yesterday was the 20th, okay? I'm going to do a Monday slide. Thanks, you can move out of the way. I'm going to replace this over your layout. Yeah, you can go to Monday, Tuesday. I have one of these built and I would show it to you, but I can't. Okay, so you get the idea here, right? So this would be a place for my students to give me back their work. I would make a template of this. Then I would push it to my students. I would save it. And I would, week of July 20, template. And I would push it to my students through Google Slides, make a copy for each, no, through Google Classroom, excuse me, make a copy for each student, and they'd all have their own copy. And then they could submit their work on here. So students would be able to come in here and do their Monday work. And then they can either write in here, they can draw in here, they can text in here, they can add a picture in here. So whatever they need to do, they can show their work in here for me. This is a really good fit for math teachers, really good fit for science teachers. Even just students responding back ELA wise, maybe you're working on a story where you're working piece by piece and you want to break it up into small pieces. They could write, you know, and it might be Monday, I'm going to write, you know, the beginning part. I like to think of primary teachers, second, third graders do a ton of writing at the beginning, especially to get ready for the ELA exam, right? But you're starting the process of teaching students how to write a real paragraph, right? They don't have a clue, so they write the beginning statement, and then the next day they might write the first two statements. So as you work your way through, and at the end you put it all together. So this is a way for them to keep all their paper. You're just giving them paper, right? It's a piece of paper. You're just giving it to them digital, and then you're keeping it, and you're keeping it all in one place. It's a little different than a doc, right? Because they can also put pictures and other things in here to kind of support their document, to support their thought process. All right. So creating templates, I think that's a great way. File download options. So download. I can download anything as a JPEG. So I think a lot of people don't know this. So let's say I take this slide right here, just like this. I'm going to take that out, and I'm just going to take this slide. The slide I'm saved as, file, download. I can download as a JPEG. Okay, and it's going to ask me when I go through, it's going to say, what do you want to save as? And I'm just going to, it's only going to save the slide I'm on. So I'm just going to say mountains, right? So I'm going to use this as a mountain view. All right, so when I have that, and then I come over here and look, I should somewhere have a mountain view on my desktop somewhere crazy. Well, anyway, it would save to my desktop if I did save it there. I think it's here somewhere. Since I have 3 desktops, it's decided to be a little on the wonky side and decided to, it's right here. So can you guys see that there in the middle of my screen? That's my grandbaby. Isn't she cute? So that allows me to kind of save that, and then I can use that. So that's a really good thing. If students do work, you can save it as a JPEG. You can save a screenshot of something. I mean, that's the equivalent of a screenshot, but saving a specific slide is helpful. In Moments, when you see something, so this is like a remote teaching kind of 911, for lack of a better word. Something happens in your Google Classroom, or something happens in a Google Meet, and it's not an appropriate thing, or you can hit the print screen button, right? You can hit the print screen button, and on your Chromebooks, you have the box with the 2 lines, which is like a screenshot. I highly recommend you do that as soon as it happens, and then you have a record of it, and then you can paste it into another document. Okay, so something inappropriate happens, somebody says inappropriate, because people can delete things pretty quickly. You want to make sure if you can grab a record of that. It won't happen often. Master the slide. Okay, so I'm going to come back out here. Those of you who took my Google Slide presentation one, my 201 class, here's how we do it. We go to View, Master, and I can change all the settings for all my slides just by coming in to edit this slide right here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to change my title to Abriel Fat Face. Isn't that a great name, right? And then I'm going to change all of these to Architect's Daughter. So I'm all done. I'm going to come back out here. I'm going to close this, and it's going to automatically make the change to all my slides at one time. So I don't have to do them individually. Huge time saver. Always play with Master the Slide instead of the other individually. So now I'm going to I think Michelle, as I was training, can I add a QR code in a footer? I'm not sure you can do it on a footer. So I can quick scan to dump student work into my Google Drive for my chemistry homework. So do you mean, you know what, Michelle, I'm going to let's answer that afterwards. And I think you and I may have to have more conversation about what you're trying to do there. There might be other ways. I want to keep student work digitally. I think the option I'm going to give you in just a minute is right here. So I got a better way. Okay. How do you like that? So, okay, she says. So let's talk about Google Forms. So if you're going to collect it, you're going to make a form for it, right? If you're going to put a ring on it, you better make a form for it. I don't know how you guys don't think I'm always going to give you a song reference for something stupid. I can't help it. It's like a disease. The good thing is at least you guys understand them. Like little kids never used to get them, and that was even funnier. So then I just say them and I'd laugh myself, and then I'd keep teaching. Okay. So on a Google form, so anytime you're going to gather information, you want to use a Google form because it's really for data collection. Oh, I'm like really glad I put that on there. It's for data collection. I want to pull data together and I want to keep it so I have it. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for something you're going to send out to someone. So here's an example. In my Google Drive, I have a Google form in here. See, now it works. And it's this NARIC sign-in sheet. So every time you guys come to a session, I have to take these sign-in sheets and turn them into something else. Lovely. Because I have to have certain data on you. And I know that sounds really bad, but I need to like your first name, your last name, your emails, like what district you're from, right? So this is data that I collect that I have to have. It's for reporting purposes. I have to know like how many people I train in every BOCES, right? At the end of the year. So these are things. So I don't give this to anybody else. It's just mine. But if Caroline comes to me and says like, how many trainings did I take from you? Because Frontline's broken and I can't find it. I'd be able to pull it right out. I'd say, here, you got 6. There you go. Right? I'd be able to say that. So this is a document that I use for myself. It doesn't go anywhere else. So when we think about that, there's that you're going to collect. Like, think about a parent contact information. You could make one for your parents that you are going to talk to, and you could have one of the options. You'd have their name, the date, the way that you contacted them or they contacted you. So it could be email, phone, Google Meet, right? And then just a section would be long answer was like what you talked about. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. So it can just be record keeping. So instead of writing it, you're just going to type it up. The benefit of doing that is going to save all in one place. So use lots of different colors for your forms. So, and what I mean about that is when you're making forms, don't keep them all this ugly purple that they come in, right? So if you're teaching English, if you're an elementary teacher, English, math, science, and social studies should all be a different color. See the different colors? Because we're color people. We're going to find things better if we use different colors. So color code them by the subject. Middle school, high school teachers, color code them by the period. So first period could all be red. Second period could all be orange, right? That class you hate can all be gray. No, I'm just saying that you don't hate any classes, right? Like the gray class of death, right? I used rainbows when I was teaching. So I had 7 classes. So I had my kindergartners were red, my first graders were orange, my second graders were yellow. My kids knew their colors. Everything was color coordinated for them in the classroom, and they just knew them. As they moved up, I gave them a little guide, and by a couple weeks in, they always knew what color they were. Also, the other thing is put a picture in them because they're a lot easier to look at by the pictures, right? I can tell which ones are which. I don't have to read them. Like, I know that this is a check-in. I don't know why I use this chemistry thing, but I could use that. I'll know what it is. So it just keeps it easier because I'm a very visual person. It's going to help me. Use images, right? I've said this before. Use your own images. It will help you organize it. So when I come in and I go to the color palette, I can choose my own images. I can use these. They have some nice ones. They may not have enough. So I can browse. I can go into photos, and I have lots in here. I have some pictures of, I think, oh, in the photo one. So my daughter is a huge hiker, so she takes a lot of amazing photos, and she has given me some of these to use. So, so look at this one, right? That's great, right? I can just click that. I can go in and make that a photo, and then it'll come in. It'll pick a color according to what I'm in. So it picked the colors according to the picture, but maybe I want it to be blue, and I just tell it to apply, and now I have this, right? That's kind of cool. I mean, that's a really nice look to it. And then they're just much more personal. Okay, so make a copy. Just like before you saw me make a copy of my other form, you right click on it, make a copy. The good news is when you do that, it does strip out all the results. So you can reuse a form that you already have. You don't have to go in and take them out. When you make the copy, it cleans it up. So that's huge. You don't have to worry about that. Make it a quiz first. So a lot of you will do this afterwards. I tend to do it first because it's much easier. I will come in, I will name it. I will come over here, and then I will come up to my settings and I'll turn it into a quiz first. It's always the first thing I do. That's all I do. I name it. I usually name it, and then I go up and quiz it. I'll do it both times. So this is another little trick. I name it form. I typically give them 2 different names, and here's why. When I go to preview, preview opens it. So this is called name it. This is where I'm editing it. But out here, name it form is where I'm sending it to people. This is what I'm editing. This is what I'm using, I'm sending. So I give them different names so that I can't muck it up and I can't make the changes in the wrong place. Does that make sense? That's the more you use it, the more it makes sense. I'll come back to that in a minute. If you are on a, know what's in your settings. So up here in settings, there's a few things that are very specific. General, if you're going to deal with your kids, you want to collect emails. If it's a quiz, you definitely want to limit to 1 response. It's a document you're using over and over and over again. You want to not limit to 1 response. So you want to make sure that's not the problem. So you want to go back and forth. Next one. Do you want a confirmation? Right? Thank you. Sometimes that's good. Yeah, especially if you could type, Bond. If it's a quiz and you're not going to release the grade right away, which I highly recommend you not do release right away. So you can do manual review. You can release it later. Michelle, here's where I'm going to show you the magic that you need. In here, this is Michelle's magic. Okay, just for you, my girl. Oh my gosh, Virginia, you can't do anything today. Michelle's magic, right here. File upload. You can allow your students to upload a file. Okay. So I'm thinking what you want to keep is your labs, because what a lot of people want to do is keep labs instead of keeping a paper lab. If you're doing labs digitally, students can submit to you and they'll all go in one place. So you could only allow a specific type. You can pick what you want, right? Image, audio, whatever. You can change them. And this is going to allow students to file upload to you. I don't think anybody will give you a 10 meg. I don't know. They might. You might want to have to play with these. Maybe do 1 gig. I can't imagine. If it was audio, it would be pretty big. If it was just digital file, probably not. So Michelle, if you took your labs and you push it to your students to Google Classroom, make a copy for each student. So, well, that's exactly it, right? They don't necessarily have to do it this way. They can push it to you through Google Classroom. But if they're doing their labs this way, they could load back up to you. So this is always, when I show this to science teachers, they get all excited, right? Chem is a lot of math, right? And if they're doing it that way, right, it's a way for them to have their pieces. And not only that, it also keeps all of your documentation for the state all in one place, right? So you don't have to have a filing cabinet of all their labs. You have all their lab stuff in one place. So that could be very valuable as well. They do have to load within their same domain. So just so you know that. The lock Chromebook feature. So if you are in a domain, which I am not in right now. So if I come out here to drive.google.com and I go to my NARIC account, I will be in a Google domain. So personal accounts are not. And then if I go into a form, so then I'm just going to look for a form really quickly. So I'm definitely not going to get through all these pieces, as you can tell. That's never a shock. I am going to tell you what I'm going to do. For the last few, I'm going to record them and you'll get a little bonus that you can watch if you want to. You don't have to. But that will, so those of you that want it, you will have it. So let me go right here. This one, let's see. I think this one will work. When I come out here and I look at my settings, right here, you may have a locked mode for Chromebooks. You have to be in a domain. It only works on managed Chromebooks. But if I turn it on, it means my students can't open another tab. So I see Allison looking at that, right? So if they go to their parent's phone to take it, you know, I'm not saying they can't have another device near them. I'm just saying that this is a way to make it a little harder for them. They can't open another tab. It's like kiosk mode when you take the state exam. Okay, 3 through 8, they put you in kiosk mode, so you can't open anything else except that tab. Okay, so cancel. Whew, that was a lot of work to get there, but I made it. All right, let's see where we are. Share from the correct spot. Oh, this is what I was talking about before. So when we are in here, not this one, go back where you, in this one. If you share from here, and I only say this because I know some of my friends, some of my colleagues have done this. I've seen it happen. Lots of people will come up here because like every other document we share from here. We just come up here, grab it, send the message off to somebody, and we share from here. If you share from here, everybody can edit it. If you can see tools and you edit from here, don't do that. You can go to the send mode and you can send from here, but if you want to send an address, you can come to the eyeball. This is what it's going to look for other people, and you can send it from here. When you don't see tools, that's where you share from. You never share from the tool spot because this is the edit mode. This is how people can come in and make changes to your documents, to your form. So we don't really share. I mean, we don't really have collaborators, although you do, because really if Kara makes a form, it's her form. She doesn't really want anybody else having business to it, right? Ain't nobody else's business but hers. But she may want somebody else to be able to look at the results that are in there. So I totally can come into Send and I can add collaborators. So I can add people to it. But it's usually more for getting the results to looking what the answers are coming in. It's not so much that I want you to change my form. I know what I want to create. I know what I want to collect. I don't want you to be making changes to that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let me come back out here. Sections. So you know that you can section your test up into smaller pieces. So please don't give anybody 86 questions in a test. And I only say that because that literally happened. I had somebody go, my kids can't finish the form. And I'm like, well, how long is it? They're like 86 questions. And I literally had to turn my camera off because I was like, oh my God. I was like, right, I can't finish an 86 question test. You can't start a form and leave it. So if you want to do a long test, right, divide it either into smaller pieces, right? Do multiple choice, fill in the blank, then do the short answer, long answer as 2 separate forms. You can add all those scores together, right? One part can be 50, one part can be 20, one could be 20, and then you can put them all together. Still makes 20 out of 20 is no different than, 80 out of 80, right? It doesn't matter. The math will all be the same in the end. So just remember, you can do that. In a long document, you can break it up by sections. It's much easier to 5 questions on one page, add a section break, it takes them to a new page. It's more manageable. It's like white space. It just feels better. Use a destination. So, and I come out here, most of you come in here and you just look at your summaries, right? You have a summary in here. Here's who answered it. Here's the questions. But you want to come over here and you want to go to this little guy right here and you want to go to summary response. I already set this up. So this is my Google sheet that goes with this. I'm going to go right into sheets because this is probably the most important thing you can know about a sheet. You take this top row and you freeze it. And now what I can do is I can scan up and down it, and that doesn't move. That top row is not going to move for me. Now I do a couple of things. I also make it bold, right? When I do this, when I collect the selection response, the destination, right? When I click that, the first time I click it, there won't be anything in there, right? And I can pick where it goes. Let Google do the work for you. Okay, so I don't know if I can ever say that enough to you. Let Google do the work for you. It's pretty smart. It's going to make it the way it matches. Look at it, named it the same thing as this. So yeah, sure, just tell it to create. Okay, I'm good to go, right? All set. There's the spreadsheet, all set to go. It even took the headings, the questions, and put them in. Let it do its work. The benefit of using it this way is that I really easily can come through and I can make changes. So if I was in this document, and this was a list of my students, like I was going to keep track of who attended today, and Bobby moved in. I could quickly add Bobby in, and I could move things around on a sheet easy because I can just reorder things and I can put things in alphabetical order, and phoom, they're all done, right? I don't have to worry about, right? Carol's like, oh, we do that on Word documents or docs all the time, and then our kids are out of order because we don't want to move them in the grade book. Just use Sheets for good. I promise it will make your life so much easier. All right. My last one for forms, and then I will do Sheets in classrooms and you'll get a little extra bonus. So I didn't think I'd get through all these. This one right here, you have the ability over here in 3 dots to get an email notification for new responses. So if you're giving a quiz, you can turn that on. Now, if you got 100 kids, you may not want 100 emails. I'm just saying. You might want to be judicious with how you turn that on. If you're waiting for the last 20 kids to do it, you could turn it on then when you're waiting for your last 20 kids to come through with their responses. That's a way you'll get an email when somebody fills it out. That is huge to do that. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. I will finish Sheets. It will be a little later in the day, but you'll end up getting 2 videos today. You're going to get one of just me, and then you'll get one of this session. I don't want to cheat you. You don't have to watch it if you don't want it. I'll try to go a little faster. Although I got through 61, I'm pretty impressed, right? 61, it's almost like, one every 2 minutes. It's pretty good. I will do Classroom and I will do Google Sheets, and then you will have those too. So I'm going to stop recording because we are pretty much at session time. Hopefully